Top 10 richest countries in the world. What's your idea on the concept of rich countries around the world? If you're in a new country and you see Lambos being used in cab services, you'll feel, well, damn, I'm in a pretty rich country, right? Not necessarily. So basically, when we talk about a rich country, we're basically asking how well off the people in that country are. And to figure this out, we often use certain measurements to get the results. Today, with such techniques, we crack the ice and get a list of the top 10 richest countries in the world. So, let's have a tour. The world is filled with diversity, and some countries stand out as the wealthiest on the planet. They are not just wealthy, they're incredibly rich. Before starting, it's important to shed light on the fact that things are not always fair in different countries. The COVID-19 pandemic showed us this in a surprising way. Richer countries, even though they had more older people and health risks, had better resources to help those who needed it. But not everyone in these countries had equal access to these resources. When lockdowns happened, people with lower paying jobs had a much harder time than those with high paying jobs. This created a new kind of inequality. Some people could comfortably work from home, while others had to risk their health by going to their jobs. And if some people lost their jobs because their industry shut down, they didn't have much help to fall back on. This showed that even the best welfare systems in the world had big problems. Having said that, let's start the list. Number 10, San Marino. San Marino, a tiny European republic with a population of only 34,000 people, punches above its weight in terms of wealth. This is partly because of its low income tax rates. Despite its small size, San Marino showed resilience during the pandemic and economic challenges, with its tourism and manufacturing sectors performing well. The country is also working on aligning its fiscal laws with international standards. Number 9, the United States. The United States, which has been a major player for years, solidified its position among the world's richest countries. This happened due to a combination of falling energy prices and significant government spending brought about by the pandemic. Meanwhile, the U.S. implemented emergency spending measures like stimulus checks and increased food stamp benefits, which boosted its economy and helped it recover from a short-lived recession. Number 8, Norway. Norway's wealth story is closely tied to oil. Since the late 1960s, large offshore reserves have fueled the country's economy. However, in 2020, oil prices crashed and the COVID-19 pandemic caused a significant setback, resulting in a 6.3% drop in GDP. But Norwegians didn't become significantly less wealthy. Their economy gradually recovered, and in 2021, it rebounded, growing by almost 3.9%. Norway's $1.3 trillion sovereign wealth fund, the world's largest, provides a financial safety net. Notably, the country has one of the smallest income inequality gaps among rich nations. Number 7, Switzerland. Switzerland has given the world some cool stuff like white chocolate, bobsleds, and Swiss Army knives. They're also good at making money from banking, tourism, and selling pharmaceuticals and fancy gadgets. A report said that the average person in Switzerland has a lot of money, about $700,000. And a lot of people there are millionaires, so it's no wonder that Switzerland has the most millionaires in the world. Number 6, United Arab Emirates. The United Arab Emirates, or the UAE, has a rich history that has shifted dramatically with the discovery of oil in the 1950s. The UAE's highly cosmopolitan population enjoys considerable wealth, with tax-free salaries and a thriving economy. Oil has been the backbone of its prosperity, but the nation is diversifying into industries like tourism, construction, trade, and finance. The pandemic and oil price fluctuations briefly knocked the UAE out of the IMF's list of the world's richest countries, but it quickly regained its position as energy prices rebounded. Number 5, Macau, SAR. Macau, often called the Las Vegas of Asia, is a place of contrasts. It's a tiny place with a population of about 700,000 people, but it's got more than 40 casinos. This former Portuguese colony joined China in 1999 and quickly became a money-making machine. However, the pandemic hit Macau hard and it lost its spot as one of the richest nations for a while. It's getting back on its feet now, but the per capita purchasing power has dropped. Number 4, Qatar. Qatar is known for its massive oil and gas reserves, and despite some ups and downs in oil prices, it has remained one of the world's richest countries. Its small population of just 3 million people benefits from the wealth. However, the pandemic brought challenges as it affected low-income migrant workers. Still, the economy proved to be resilient, and it's gradually bouncing back thanks to increased gas and oil revenues. Number 3. Singapore. Singapore, a tiny island nation in Southeast Asia, might be small in size, but it's huge in wealth. The richest person in Singapore is Lee Shiting, the founder of a medical equipment company. He's worth an astonishing $15.6 billion. So how did Singapore become so rich? Well, back in 1965, when it became an independent country, half of its people couldn't read or write. It had no natural resources, but through hard work and clever policies, it became a business-friendly place. Today, it's a bustling hub for trade, manufacturing, and finance. Almost everyone can read, but even Singapore couldn't escape the pandemic's economic hit. In 2020, its economy shrank, but it rebounded in 2021. However, the slowdown in China affected its manufacturing sector, slowing down its growth in 2023. Number 2. Luxembourg. Luxembourg is a tiny European nation, but it has a lot to offer. With a population of around 650,000, it provides excellent living standards to its citizens. It used its wealth to improve housing, healthcare, and education. The global financial crisis and pressure to reduce banking secrecy didn't hurt its economy much. The pandemic, though, did impact businesses and led to a roller coaster of economic growth. And number 1, Ireland. Ireland might seem like a great place to live, but its wealth comes with significance. It's one of the world's largest corporate tax havens, attracting big companies due to its low corporate tax rate. Ireland is known for being a hotspot for companies to stash their cash. Big names like Apple, Google, and others shifted their headquarters to Ireland because of its super low corporate tax rate, just 12.5%. By 2022, these companies made up more than half of Ireland's economy. Crazy, right? They're planning to raise that tax to 15% in 2024, though. Lastly, it's important to mention that, as we told you earlier, there are different ways to figure out how rich a country is. But one common way is by looking at something called the GDP, which adds up the value of all the stuff and services a country makes. But this can be tricky because if a country has lots of people, their GDP can look bigger even if they're not really that wealthy. Plus, some places can make their GDP seem bigger by being a tax haven. So, to get a better idea of a country's real wealth, people often look at numbers like GDP per person or GNI per person. These numbers give a clearer picture of how well off the folks in that country really are. But keep in mind that GDP per capita doesn't always match what the typical person makes in a country. Because even in rich countries, some people are poor, and in poor countries, you can find some really wealthy people. Still, it's a decent way to tell how well a country is doing financially. So these countries' economic fortunes are diverse, reflecting how they navigate global challenges and their unique strengths. With their unique story, they secure their places. Singapore's hard work and smart policies, Macau's casino boom and pandemic struggles, Qatar's resilience despite challenges, Luxembourg's small size with big living standards, and Ireland's tax haven status with wealth and equality. Understanding these graphs helps us see the diversity of wealth on our planet, and it reminds us that riches come with their own set of challenges. And that's all for now. Thanks for joining us in this video. And if you found this content engaging, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking insights. And remember, your comments are invaluable to us, so please share your thoughts below. And may the wealth be with you.